Hello, I'd like to thank everyone for being here, for supporting the relief efforts for the people of Leyte and Samar. I'm going to read a few poems by Voltaire Araza or Voltaire Oizon, a Waray poet. He writes in Waray. For a long time, he disappeared off of Facebook during the storm, and he only came up actually yesterday. I want to read his poems. I reviewed them once for a magazine, and they were the first complete book of poems in Waray that I read, although I had read work by Iluminado Lucente and some of the dramatists of Leyte. I had never read a full book of poems. He's a delight. He's an absolute pleasure to read. He's so funny. But before that, I'd like to say a few things about the word Waray, the language and people hit by the storm Yolanda, the language and people of Leyte and Samar. First, the noun, or perhaps more specifically, the pronoun Waray. It means nothing. Literally, that's what it means. Nothing. If you ask, what do you have? Waray? Nothing. So, to be Waray is also to be nothing. Second, the word Waray is one of our words for denoting the negative. You could say good, maupay, or bad, waray upay. So the word waray grammatically creates that litoti, the expletive for that which is not. That is, grammatically in waray, the word waray actually can keep creating something simply by adding its negation. Third, the adjective waray-waray means, it's hard to explain, it means happy-go-lucky or nonchalant or indifferent. If you're waray-waray, you're kind of a good-for-nothing, indifferent fuck, or something like that. A criminal gang, the waray-waray gang, reportedly began the looting, happily takes that name. Waray-waray, of course, also implies poverty, having absolutely nothing. And lastly, Waray, of course, is both the name of the tongue and of the people. So you can imagine the kind of punsters and funny people the Warays must be, the kind of fun we have with language just from the name we have decided to keep for ourselves. Because of course, while someone else may have named us Warays, in perhaps some passing epithet of frustration, it is we who have continued to call ourselves Waray, as if laughing at our own existential absurdity and accepting our Buddhist fate, or following the words of Jean-Paul Sartre, whom we may as well adopt as a Waray, author of Being and Nothingness, accepting our fate as nothing, as a people haunted by a vision of completion, which you may be even if you're not Waray. Today we're looking at this devastation, the turning of the provinces of Leyte and Samar into Waray, into Kawaray-Warayan, into nothing. And we are going to try to turn it into something by reading the poems of Voltaire Oizon. His first book was called An Maupay ha mga Waray. What's good about Waray, or the good thing about Waray, that's what it means. I'll start with the poem Paglaba. Paglaba. Katima mugikan, ginlulungtod ko anat mga bunakan, habut nga han binitad nga taklap, pasig balutan, dadon nga tasalog, upudan panay ngan pakang. After you left, I folded up the dirty clothes, put them in the middle of the blanket, wrapped them, brought them to the river with the clothes basin and the wooden paddle. I mean, those are things that you use to wash clothes, the pakang, a wooden paddle, to beat dirt out of clothes. Sano ko pahuruman, linain ko ang dikolor ng busag. Di masabunon, di makurukuson, paglambahon han pakang, ang naawil ng mga baho. Di malatakan, bulyasan. Before I soaked them, I separated the colors from the whites. Then I soaped them. Then I scrubbed them. Then I beat the lingering smells with the paddle. paglambaw ng pakang ang naawil ng mga baho. Naawil is such an interesting verb. The lingering or the smells that want to stay. Then I rinsed them. No, sorry. Then I bleached them. Then I rinsed. Upudhan mga buring ug bura, iginanod han daganas han himanglos, anakaim hinumduman. Along with the dirt and the bubbles, iginanod. I'll have to switch the lines. Okay, my memory of you went flowing through the river of himanglos. There's a key word, hinumduman, memory, because as you notice, a lot of the other words there, a lot of this poem and a lot of Voltaire's poems are full of verbs. It's most of the words are verbs, and a lot of the verbs are very ordinary quotidian verbs: pahuruman, sabunun, kurukusun, latakan, bulyasan. These ordinary verbs of the laundry chores, which are all great and funny. And then it moves into the abstract, this memory of you. So it's a key word, hinumduman, in this poem. Samtang pinanmalaypay ko ang magbusag-busag ko nga mga bunakan, nangalimwag analimyon hanimo panapton. May pag-iliw nga umalo pa akon. While I was hanging up these clothes, these immaculate clothes that I had just washed, the steam of your smell wafted from your clothes, and a longing came over me. Pastilan, kung nalalabhan lay ni nga dughan, akon gud ini paglalatakan. And it's hard to translate pastilan. My mom used to say, pastilan inday, don't do that, So pastilan means alas. Well, I can't translate it, so I'll just use it. Pastilan, if you could cleanse this chest, I'd bleach it good. The final verb, latak, paglalatakan, is very interesting because it actually means two things. It does mean to bleach something dry, but it also means, if someone told you in Waray, latakan tay ikaw, it means, I'll beat you up to a pulp. So that interesting piece of the pang of pain with which he ends this drama of laundry is really interesting, and it's great. So with that poem, Paglaba, or laundry, as one might pun in English to capture the Waray puns in that poem, the smell of the everyday is smelt into one lover's pain. Here's Lambunaw. This is the one Voltaire wanted me to read. He requested it. It's a newer poem. Lambunaw. Lambunaw means water, which I just learned. Anyway. Malabad nga bisita nin Lambunaw, labi na kun nasulod habalay, og di mala natuktukanay. Water is a bad guest, especially when it enters the house without knocking. Malabad, kay nga tanan, inuukupahan. Linalabtan, hinuhulos, ang paspasan, mga lingkuran, ang nigo, kaguran, ang sungo, biso, ang banig, ang taklap, ang ulunan, ang litrato namon nga duha nga mag-asawa. It's a pest because it occupies everything, touching everything, making everything wet, the floor, the chairs, the nigo. The nigo is a basket, the flat basket for threshing rice. Kaguran, that's a grater, like when you grate coconuts. The firewood, the water jug, the mat, the blanket, the pillow, and the picture of the two of us, my wife and me. Tagtulo upat na gud kaadlaw, kun maginukoy hambalay. It's been overstaying for 3 or 4 days. It keeps living in our house. Diri gad ako namumuy, boy. Naurit la ko. Kainin mga panapton, hinanakon pulahay, pero mila namamaglinuha. I am not complaining, I'm just annoyed, because these clothes that I've been drying keep shedding tears. Nasisina ko imo yana, karuyag ko ikaw nga lumagpaw. I am angry with you now, Lambunaw. I want you to get lost. Finally, this last poem. Kawatan ako, I'm a thief. I'm going to see if you can see the poem. If I can move it. Nah, I can't. Anyway. Kawatan ako. Aton pasidunggan. Actually, it has an epigram, so I'll read the epigraph. Nangangara ko in pasaylo kanda Ismail Tafik, yanti sa webyakto ngan B.S. Medina, matungod hininga pagpasipara. He says, I am asking forgiveness from, my apologies to Ismail Tafik, yanti sa webyakto, and B.S. Medina for this attempt. Aton pasidunggan an mga naka-uniforme nga kawatan, mga hinbisan ano nga kawatan, mga nagtitinda nga kawatan, mga nadalaga na eleksyon nga kawatan, mga mahatagon nga kawatan, mga cum laude nga kawatan, ngan mga kawatan nga kawatan. And I'll read the translation by Janice Claire B. Salvacion. I am a thief. Let us give honor to thieves in uniform, whatever kinds of thieves, vendors who are thieves, thieves who are running in the elections, generous thieves, cum laude thieves, and thieves who are just thieves. Pito kayukot nga kapurudan, pito kayukot nga kapurupudan, nasudhin mga kawatan. Tunahan mga kawatan, didto bayanian kawatan, paraanan kawatan, mopay nga tawo ang kawatan, honorable nga tawo, honorable ang tawag han kawatan, riko ang kawatan, marasan kinabuhi han kawatan. 7,000 islands, a nation of thieves, land of thieves, the thief is a hero there, holy is the thief is a good person, the thief is called honorable, rich is the thief enjoys the good life. Aton panalipdan ang mga kawatan, kawatan hitatay, kawatan hinanay, kinawat ko ini nga siday. Siday means poem. Let us protect the thief. My father is a thief, my mother is a thief, and I stole this poem. Thanks a lot, and thank you for supporting the Warais. My sister is running an organization called Kusug Tacloban, and part of the proceeds of this will go to her group that is trying very hard to help with the manpower in Tacloban, which is very much lacking. So thank you very much. I just want to say the reason why I wanted to read the work of Voltaire was that when I went through Facebook, when I heard about the storm, I looked for the names of the writers, Merlia Noonan, Voltaire, the artist, Danica, and so many others on my feed, because I just kept thinking as I couldn't see their names for days and days, what a horror it would be to lose the poets of the Warais. I'm glad they're back.